what we're told is that, the showering is this moment of, how do you say, of possible temptation, right? That you're in the stall, you're naked, and you have to touch yourself, and touching yourself might arouse you. And then, for most people, they wouldn't even think twice about that. But for Christians and for those specifically who are going through conversion therapy, they're taught to really fear their body in a lot of ways, right? That this is a moment of potential of opening yourself up to the enemy, to the devil, and to Satan potentially. When reading this story about again, sort of anxiety about just showering, doing something as commonplace and mundane as showering, it brought me back to when I was in this headspace, when I was undergoing conversion therapy and beyond. Because conversion therapy doesn't just end once you finish meeting with a person or people or a group or a temple, whichever. It goes well beyond that. And the enduring consequences of conversion therapy oftentimes are felt and experienced much later on. So nonetheless, reading this man's story, I was taken aback, and I was taken back to the time when I was in this headspace. And it's rough because you do your best to forget a lot of it. You do your best to move on, sort of come to terms with it. But I think that when you have these moments that you, in some ways, either forgotten unintentionally or willfully blocked out of your mind, and then get reanimated for you by reading a story like these stories that I was reading, it it's tough. It's not easy, and it was an emotional process throughout. And so reading that story as well as the other stories, and again, some stories that were super similar to my experience and others that were so far from my experience. Nonetheless, I think reading these stories, what it really brought up really how broad a category that, conversion therapy or conversion practices, which is really the language that a lot of people use nowadays. I just use conversion therapy because it's more recognizable by a general public, but conversion practices, how broad these practices really are across faith traditions, across time, across, it's not just sitting in, a room with quote unquote counselor. It can also be with parents. It can also be by yourself. It can also be online. There are so many different expressions of conversion practices or moments or instances of conversion practices that when I was reading these stories, that really was one of the main things that I took away was how many people have undergone these or undergone conversion practices. And in some cases, didn't know it until many years later.